Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason why you were born. Before you took your first breath, before your name was spoken, God had already designed a purpose for you. You were created with intention, not by accident. And because of this, you must understand that your life is not a random sequence of events, but a carefully orchestrated masterpiece, set in motion by the Creator Himself. God's plan is intentional and purposeful. Every great architect follows a blueprint before constructing a building. No wise builder lays bricks without a plan. Likewise, God, the ultimate creator, has a specific blueprint for your life. He knows the end from the beginning, and He has positioned you exactly where you need to be to fulfill your destiny. When you look at your life and do not understand where you are heading, trust that God sees the full picture. Your assignment in life is not to figure out every detail, but to walk in faith, knowing that the one who designed you has already determined your success. Challenges are a part of the process. Many people begin to doubt God when they face difficulties. They say, if God has a plan, why am I struggling? Why am I facing setbacks? But hear me today. Opposition is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of preparation. Look at history. Every great leader, every world changer, every person who accomplished something significant had to endure trials. These challenges are not meant to destroy you, but to refine you. Gold is tested in fire, and so is your character. Your trials are shaping you for the greatness that God has destined for you. Faith is the key to understanding God's plan. Doubt is a thief. It steals your peace, your confidence, and your vision. The moment you begin to doubt, you start to move away from what God has promised you. But faith is the currency of the kingdom. It is what allows you to access what God has already prepared for you. When you trust God, even when you do not understand, you align yourself with His will. You open the door to miracles, to divine connections, and to breakthroughs. Never allow doubt to rob you of what God has already declared over your life. God's timing is perfect. We live in a generation that wants everything immediately. But God is not limited by human schedules. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. Abraham waited for the promised son. Joseph waited in prison before becoming a ruler. David waited years before becoming king. But when the time was right, God fulfilled every promise. What He has spoken over your life will come to pass at the right time. No delay, no mistake, only divine precision. My friends, never doubt God's plan for you. Your life has meaning, your struggles have purpose, and your future is secure in His hands. What you must do is walk in faith, trust the process, and stay committed to the journey. God has already written your success into His divine script. Now it is time for you to believe it, embrace it, and walk boldly into your destiny. Life is not a collection of random events or meaningless coincidences. From the very beginning, every human being is created with a distinct purpose, a specific assignment that is woven into the fabric of their existence. God, as the ultimate creator, never acts without intention. Everything He does has a reason, a purpose, and a well-designed plan. This means that no one is born by mistake, and no life is insignificant. Whether a person realizes it or not, their journey has already been mapped out by divine wisdom. Understanding this fundamental truth is the key to unlocking one's true potential and living with confidence in the path set before them. Every masterpiece begins with a vision, and every structure is built according to a blueprint. No wise builder constructs a house without first drafting a plan. Similarly, God does not create a person without assigning them a role to fulfill in this world. Before you were even formed in your mother's womb, God had already determined your purpose. Your skills, your talents, your strengths, and even your weaknesses are all part of a grand design that aligns with His will for your life. What may seem like ordinary abilities to you are in fact divine tools meant to equip you for your unique mission. Many people struggle with doubt because they fail to recognize that they are not self-made. They try to define their lives by external standards, by what society expects, by what others say about them, or by comparing themselves to others. However, God's purpose is personal. It is not dictated by worldly opinions, but by divine foresight. Every person is designed with a unique combination of gifts that suit their specific calling. The problem arises when individuals allow self-doubt and external influences to cloud their understanding of this truth. Instead of trusting in God's wisdom, they begin questioning their worth and abilities. This is why it is crucial to understand that God's plan is not based on human expectations. It is higher, greater, and beyond what the natural mind can comprehend. Consider the way nature operates. Every element in creation functions according to its design. The sun shines to give light and warmth. The rivers flow to sustain life, and the trees produce oxygen to support living beings. None of these elements question their existence or try to change their purpose. They simply operate in the role they were designed for. In the same way, human beings thrive when they align themselves with the purpose God has given them. Struggling against that purpose only leads to frustration, confusion, and a sense of unfulfillment. However, when one chooses to embrace their divine calling, they step into a life of clarity, peace, and meaning. Another reason people doubt God's plan is that they cannot see the full picture. Human vision is limited. We can only see what is directly in front of us. But God sees the past, the present, and the future all at once. His plan is carefully designed, ensuring that every experience, whether good or bad, serves a purpose in shaping a person for their destiny. Sometimes what seems like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. When doors close, it is not a sign of failure, but often a redirection to something better. The delay you experience today may be positioning you for an opportunity that you are not yet ready to handle. Everything in God's plan is intentional. Even the moments of waiting, the seasons of hardship, and the unexpected turns. People often make the mistake of thinking that if they do not see immediate success, then perhaps they are not meant for something great. But divine purpose is not rushed. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It must go through a process. Planted in the soil, hidden from view, and nurtured over time before it breaks through the ground and grows into its full potential. The same principle applies to human life. What God has placed within you may not be visible yet, but it is growing beneath the surface. The more you trust in His plan, the stronger you become. History provides countless examples of individuals who, at one point, did not understand why they were going through certain experiences. Many leaders, visionaries, and pioneers began their journey in obscurity. Some faced rejection, others endured failures, and many experienced long periods of uncertainty. But in the end, every challenge they faced contributed to their success. They realized that God's plan was always at work, even when they could not see it. In the same way, your own journey is unfolding according to divine timing. Trusting in God's intentional design for your life requires faith. It demands that you believe in His wisdom even when circumstances seem unclear. It calls for patience, especially when progress seems slow. But rest assured, nothing about your life is accidental. You were created for a purpose, and that purpose is unfolding exactly as it should. When you embrace this truth, you will walk with confidence, knowing that God's plan for you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. One of the greatest misconceptions people have about life and faith is the belief that if God has a plan for them, everything should be smooth and effortless. Many assume that divine purpose means a life without struggles, hardships, or obstacles. However, the reality is quite the opposite. Challenges are not signs of abandonment or failure. They are essential parts of the journey. Every person who is called to fulfill a great destiny will inevitably face difficulties along the way. These difficulties are not meant to break them, but to build them. Not to discourage them, but to prepare them for the higher calling that awaits them. Difficulties come in many forms. Financial struggles, personal losses, professional setbacks, disappointments, or even moments of uncertainty where nothing seems to make sense. When people face these trials, they often begin to question whether they are truly on the right path. They wonder, if God has a plan for me, why am I struggling? Why is everything going wrong? These questions arise because people naturally equate challenges with failure. But what many do not realize is that these very struggles are tools that shape them into the person they need to become to fulfill their purpose. Throughout history, some of the greatest leaders, inventors, and change makers faced extreme adversity before achieving success. They endured rejection, opposition, and hardship. Yet, these obstacles did not stop them. Instead, they strengthened their resolve, refined their skills, and deepened their character. If everything in life came easily, there would be no growth, no learning, and no development. Strength is forged in adversity, and true wisdom is often born out of trials. It is in the darkest moments that a person's faith, endurance, and character are truly tested. Consider the process of refining gold. Raw gold is full of impurities and is not valuable in its original state. To become pure and valuable, it must go through intense heat. The fire does not destroy it. Instead, it melts away the impurities, making it more precious and desirable. The same is true for people. The trials they face are not meant to destroy them, but to purify and strengthen them, removing everything that is not useful for their purpose. The struggles one goes through refine their character, build resilience, and prepare them for the greater responsibilities that lie ahead. Another reason challenges are necessary is that they teach valuable lessons that cannot be learned in comfort. When everything is easy, people become complacent. They do not feel the need to grow, to push themselves, or to rely on their faith. However, when difficulties arise, they are forced to dig deeper, to seek wisdom, and to develop new skills. These experiences create endurance and patience, which are crucial for anyone pursuing a meaningful destiny. Without these qualities, people may give up too soon or become unprepared when greater opportunities come their way. Challenges also help in revealing one's true potential. Many people do not know how strong or capable they are until they are placed in situations that demand more from them. It is only when faced with a difficult task that they discover new abilities and strengths they never knew they had. A person may think they are incapable of leadership until they are forced to take charge in a crisis. Someone may not believe they are resilient until they face a loss and find the strength to move forward. Hardships often serve as the catalyst that brings out the best in people, showing them what they're truly made of. In addition, difficulties force people to rely on God in ways they would not have otherwise. When things are going well, it is easy to become self-reliant, believing that success is a result of personal effort alone. However, when faced with situations that are beyond human control, people turn to God for guidance, strength, and wisdom. These moments deepen their faith and create a stronger relationship with the one who has planned their path. Without challenges, many would never truly learn what it means to trust in divine wisdom. It is also important to recognize that challenges are often a setup for a greater breakthrough. Many people in the world's history had to go through seasons of struggle before stepping into their destined greatness. Joseph, for example, was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned before he became a ruler in Egypt. His challenges were not setbacks. They were stepping stones leading him to his purpose. Had he not gone through those difficulties, he would not have been in the right position to fulfill his destiny. Similarly, people today must understand that their trials are part of the bigger picture. Just because they do not see immediate results does not mean that the process is in vain. Every hardship, every delay, and every painful experience is playing a role in shaping them for the future that awaits. The struggles they endure today are strengthening them for the responsibilities of tomorrow. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, they should be viewed as opportunities for growth, learning, and preparation. Every difficulty carries a lesson, and every hardship is a chance to develop the character needed to sustain long-term success. The road to fulfilling one's divine purpose is never meant to be easy, but it is always worth it. Those who persevere through challenges with faith and determination will eventually step into the fullness of what has been planned for them. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in existence. It is the bridge between where you are and where God intends for you to be. Without faith, it is impossible to fully grasp the depth and beauty of God's plan. Faith allows you to see beyond what is visible, to trust beyond what is understandable, and to believe beyond what is logical. It is the foundation upon which your spiritual journey is built. Without it, doubt creeps in, confusion takes over, and fear hinders progress. Many people struggle with uncertainty because they try to comprehend God's plan through human reasoning alone. However, God's ways are higher than human ways, and His thoughts are beyond human comprehension. Faith is the only way to align yourself with His divine will. One of the greatest challenges people face is the tendency to rely solely on their natural senses. They want to see the full picture before they believe. They want guarantees before they take a step forward. However, true faith operates in the unseen. It does not require physical evidence. It requires trust. Imagine a person standing before a long, winding road that disappears into the horizon. They may not see what lies ahead, but they trust that the road continues beyond their view. Similarly, faith assures you that even though you cannot see the next step, God has already laid it out for you. Your responsibility is not to figure everything out, but to walk in trust, knowing that He is guiding your steps. Doubt, on the other hand, is a thief. It robs people of their peace, their confidence, and their ability to move forward. When doubt enters the heart, it creates hesitation, fear, and second-guessing. It causes people to question whether they are truly on the right path or whether they have made the wrong decisions. But faith silences doubt. Faith says, even though I do not see the full picture, I know God is in control. Faith is what keeps people anchored in moments of uncertainty. It is what allows them to keep moving forward, even when everything around them seems unclear. Faith is also necessary because God often calls people to things that seem impossible. Throughout history, those who achieved great things for God had to first believe in what seemed unlikely. Abraham was called to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. Moses was tasked with leading an entire nation through the wilderness. David, a shepherd boy, was anointed to be king when no one believed in him. All of them had one thing in common: faith. They trusted that if God had called them, He would provide the way. Without faith, they would have remained in their comfort zones, missing out on the extraordinary plans God had for them. Another reason faith is essential is that God's plan often involves waiting. In a world that values instant results, waiting can be difficult. People want answers immediately, solutions instantly, and progress without delay. But faith teaches patience. It teaches trust in God's perfect timing. When things do not happen as quickly as expected, faith reminds you that delays are not denials. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. God is never in a hurry, but He is always on time. Faith allows you to rest in His timing, knowing that what He has promised will come to pass at the right moment. Faith also transforms the way people view challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs of failure, faith sees them as opportunities for growth. A person without faith will see a mountain and say, "This is impossible." But a person with faith will say, "With God, all things are possible." Faith changes perspective. It shifts focus from the problem to the one who is greater than the problem. It allows people to endure trials with confidence, knowing that every challenge is a setup for something greater. Faith is the key to receiving God's promises. Many people miss out on what God has for them simply because they do not believe. They allow fear and doubt to hold them back from stepping into what God has already prepared. But faith unlocks the doors to divine blessings. When a person believes, they position themselves to receive. It is not enough to hope for something. Faith requires action. It requires stepping out even when the outcome is uncertain. When Peter walked on water, it was his faith that enabled him to take that first step. The moment he doubted, he began to sink. This is a powerful lesson. Faith keeps you above the waves, but doubt will always pull you down. Faith is also what allows people to hear and discern God's voice. Many struggle with making decisions because they do not fully trust that God is leading them. They wait for an obvious sign, a visible miracle, or a loud confirmation. However, faith enables people to recognize the subtle ways God speaks through His Word, through inner conviction, through divine peace. The more a person walks by faith, the more attuned they become to God's direction. They begin to understand that even in silence, God is still working. Another important aspect of faith is its ability to inspire others. When one person lives by faith, it encourages those around them to do the same. People are drawn to those who trust God with confidence. Their boldness, their peace, and their unwavering belief become a testimony to others. Faith is contagious. When people see someone overcoming obstacles, walking in purpose, and thriving despite challenges, they begin to believe that they too can trust God with their journey. Faith is the foundation of a fulfilled life. It is the difference between living in fear and living in confidence. It is what separates those who step into their purpose from those who remain stagnant. Faith does not eliminate challenges, but it gives people the strength to face them. It does not remove uncertainty, but it provides assurance that God is always in control. When people choose faith over doubt, they position themselves to experience the fullness of God's plan for their lives. Every human being has an innate desire to live a life of significance. People long for meaning, direction, and a sense of fulfillment. However, true fulfillment cannot be found in material success, human approval, or personal ambition alone. Many individuals spend years chasing things they believe will bring them happiness, wealth, status, achievements, only to find themselves feeling empty and dissatisfied. This is because purpose and fulfillment are not determined by personal desires, but by aligning with the divine plan set by God. His plan is not just about success in worldly terms. It is about living a life that has lasting impact and eternal value. When a person walks in God's plan, they experience a deep sense of fulfillment that cannot be explained by external circumstances. This is because they are living according to their original design. A product functions best when it is used for the purpose it was created for. A car is designed to transport people. If someone tries to use it as a boat, it will not function properly. Likewise, when people live outside of their God-given purpose, they experience frustration, confusion, and a lack of fulfillment. But when they embrace God's plan, everything begins to make sense. They feel a sense of joy, peace, and contentment that cannot be found anywhere else. One of the greatest advantages of following God's plan is that it provides clarity. Many people wander through life unsure of what they are supposed to do. They try different careers, pursue various opportunities, and follow different paths, hoping to find something that makes them feel complete. But without divine direction, this search often leads to disappointment. God's plan eliminates confusion because it gives a clear sense of purpose. It answers the questions, why am I here? And what was I created to do? When a person knows they are operating within God's will, they no longer feel lost. They wake up each day with a sense of direction, knowing that every step they take is leading them closer to their destiny. Another key aspect of fulfillment is the impact one has on others. A life lived according to God's purpose is never selfish or isolated. God's plan always involves serving, inspiring, and uplifting others. True fulfillment comes when a person realizes that their existence is not just about their own success, but about making a difference in the lives of those around them. When people focus solely on their own desires, they may achieve temporary satisfaction, but it never lasts. However, when they live to fulfill God's plan, their work has eternal significance. They influence lives, bring change to communities, and leave a lasting legacy that continues beyond their lifetime. God's plan brings an inner peace that nothing else can provide. Many people live in constant worry and anxiety, always wondering if they are making the right decisions or if they are on the right path. But those who trust in God's plan experience a deep sense of security. They understand that even when challenges arise, they are still within His will. They do not have to fear the future because they know God has already prepared the way. This peace allows them to move forward with confidence, even when the road ahead is unclear. They trust that every step, every delay, and every challenge is part of a greater purpose. It is also important to recognize that God's plan is not just about reaching a destination. It is about the journey itself. Many people become so focused on achieving a specific goal that they miss the beauty of the process. But God's plan is about transformation, growth, and development. As people walk in His purpose, they become stronger, wiser, and more mature. The journey shapes them into the person they were always meant to be. They develop qualities such as patience, resilience, and faith. Qualities that are essential for sustaining long-term success. Another reason why God's plan leads to fulfillment is that it is uniquely designed for each individual. No two people have the same destiny. What works for one person may not work for another because God has created each person with different gifts, talents, and assignments. When people compare themselves to others or try to follow someone else's path, they often end up frustrated. But when they embrace their unique calling, they find joy in their own journey. They understand that their purpose is not to compete with others, but to fulfill the specific role God has given them.